questions. Tom, you want to kick it off?
Muted.
She said,
All right. Hutch, you want to start us maybe?
Yeah, Dave, are you allowed to talk about the 3 transfers yet that have committed?
is that all we have?
Well, the 3 public ones, I guess.
Okay, no, we haven't got all the stuff back. Or which ones do you have? I don't know who you're talking about. Give me some names.
Well, we know Jared Wegner from Creighton. Are you able to talk about him?
Yes.
So what kind of player are you expecting to get out of him, and kind of just tell us a little bit about what you think of him?
Well, he's a very strong, athletic outfielder. He runs really, really well. I wouldn't say he's a base stealer. He has power. Should be, a seasoned player that's ready to step in and contribute right away.
And then another one is Cody Frank. Are you able to talk about him?
I don't think so.
Okay. And then the other one is Tavian Jozenberger. Are you able to talk about him?
Not yet.
Okay. I guess just kind of what are your thoughts on just what y'all have been able to do out of the portal so far, as you get into the off season?
Well, I think we've done a pretty good job. I feel like that, for us, it's about what we think these players, are all about. Really, as a player, and we're trying to get good people that'll fit in with our culture and our locker room. And in some cases, it's maybe not the big splash, that big name out there, which that's fine if you get those guys, but we're trying to go after the guys that we feel that are going to help our lineup or help our pitchers as far, our pitching as far as depth or a role, whether it's a starter, reliever, closer. But I feel real good where we're at. There's a few more things going on, and it's just the way it is in Division I baseball right now, and especially at the level we play at. You've got to do this if you're going to survive.
And the last thing I got before I'll turn it back over is, do you kind of have a set number in mind of guys you want to get out of the portal, or is it just kind of, see who you can get?
Well, you don't want to go crazy on it. You don't want to disrupt everything, but at the same time, you're trying to strengthen your roster as best you can. There's a fine line there, and there's, you got the draft coming up. What a horrible time for the draft. The draft should have been last week. I've said this 10 times this year. It makes no sense at all. No one likes it except the owners. People think it's cool to have the draft during the All-Star game. Nobody cares. Have the draft last week. Let us get to work, get our rosters right, treat the kids right, give the ones that are not going to be able to come in more time to find a place to play. It's a joke, but so we got to get through that. And then you got about 14 days after the draft to see who's going to sign. So now it's August 1st. And that's when the smoke will clear. And hopefully within a couple of days after that, we'll have a final roster. And there could be a lot of changes.
Matt?
Hey, Dave, by my count, you've got 10 junior college transfers coming in. Is there something in particular you like about the JUCO transfers, or is this just a matter of these are players who fit the types of needs that you have?
A little bit of everything. Three of them are really athletic and really run. Put up good numbers, wanted to come here. Some are really, really good students. With our scholarship situation, you have to piece it together. It's just kind of worked. If you look at the transfers that we have coming in, first team All-American, second team All-American, these guys, they did some damage, and they did it over a period of time. And it just seemed to be a good fit for us this year.
I don't know if Parker Rowland has signed his letter of intent, so I don't know if you can talk about him or not, but I know that you've committed him. And past that, what are your plans at catcher in terms of filling your roster spots at that position?
Yeah, we've committed another catcher, but I can't give you any names yet. we're fine.
You talked back in Omaha last month about evaluating Michael Turner, the video of him this time last year. Just kind of what have been your evaluations of catchers? What are the things you're looking for at that position?
Well, number one, we wanted to be able to really receive the baseball, and obviously leadership qualities are big for us. And we're talking to these guys on the phone through Zoom with the coaching staffs and the player and their parents a lot of times, kind of get a feel for that. And then talking with former coaches, you know, and a lot of, in some cases, kids just want to leave. They want to go to a program where they feel like they have a chance to get to the World Series. They want to play in a different league, coaching change. Maybe they feel like they could develop more at a different place. But a lot of times it's because maybe at their position, there's someone around the same age that's getting most of the reps, one reason or another. Maybe because he's a left-handed hitter and they hit right and the coach likes left. You could go on and on. I've heard it all. But we just try to evaluate all the above as far as, you know, can he handle a pitching staff, good catch and throw guy? And then the bat to me is last when it comes to the catcher.
Okay, thank you.
Bob?
Hey, Dave, how you doing?
Good.
Hey, it seemed like Peyton Stovall, you know, got better at first as the season went on, made some pretty nice picks over there. But I know he's a middle infielder by trade. Where do you envision him playing next season?
Well, first off, on his play at first, I thought he did a great job all year. He picked 95% of the balls that hit the dirt. It was pretty amazing. You know, he wasn't the biggest target over there. And I think our guys, you know, they're pretty accurate with their arms, but if they missed, a lot of times it was low because I think they felt like he would pick it and save them, and he did. And but I see him playing second base for us next year. He's playing second in the Cape, played shortstop his senior year in high school, played second base as a freshman, sophomore, and a junior in high school, and started there most of the time. So he got his reps in at second with us, and then we'll really get after it when he gets back.
And then Kendall Diggs, do you see him maybe being a first baseman or DH? What do you envision for him?
I think Kendall's going to fight to get in the lineup, whether it's at first base, third base, or corner outfield. I think maybe his future, and I talked with him about it when he left to work in the outfield as well. I think that some of the, you know, for his future, the pro people feel like that he has good speed. He actually has a good arm. He's going to be a big kid, and that might be a spot going forward as far as professionally. It might be as a corner outfielder.
I know Brady and Hagan had a chance to pitch in the Cape Cod League, but they're going to rest. Did you just feel like they pitched enough innings as freshmen, or what went into that decision?
Yeah, well, basically, there's a lot that went into that. You know, really, in Brady's, you know, with Tiger, he's just tired, a little sore. He knew that was going to be it for him after he threw. And then Hagan was the same way. He threw the 2 innings on Sunday, and after the game, he called us and just said, "I'm really tired." Velocity was 90-93, which is pretty good. He did walk a few people. I don't know. He didn't give up a run, struck out 4 of the 6 hitters, but he threw, you know, 20 plus pitches each inning. Even if he was going to make the team, we don't know what was going to go on there with either of them, but he pretty much told them, I'm done. And then as far as sending those guys out, we said, no, you need to go rest. You want to come back up here a few weeks, start training again and get ready for fall baseball. But 2 freshmen, honestly, they just kind of hit the wall, and it happens.
And then as far as the draft, you know, it seemed like it used to be too early because it was during the NCAA tournament. Guys would find out from fans in the stands or somewhere they got drafted. And like you say, now it's too late. Hopefully those owners are they're smart people. They made a lot of money. Do you feel like moving forward, the draft could get moved to something that makes more sense for college baseball? I mean,
You'd think so. You'd think so. The draft, in my opinion, should be after the regional, and then you got you got super regionals going on, but really, or right the Tuesday after the super regional, to me, is perfect. If you have a team that has to play on Tuesday because of weather, that's fine. But at least you get it done. There's 8 teams that play in the World Series, and those kids, know they've been drafted and they're still playing. That's fantastic. They'll be excited, go win a championship. I don't know. There's, the GMs and the scouts, they all want the draft earlier. It doesn't make any sense, but, the owners think that it's a production to have the draft around the same time the All-Star game's going on. And I really don't get that, but it's not like the NBA.
Okay, thanks, Dave.
Christina?
Hi, Coach. You talked a little bit about Hagan and Brady and kind of what their rest is going to look like this summer. But as far as them and then also younger guys like Jackson Wiggins and Will McIntyre, what do you think they need to do this offseason to kind of improve or be ready for whatever their role will be next year?
Yeah, both of those guys are staying here and training. They're just, continue to get stronger and they're not throwing bullpens right now, kind of resting a little bit. Then they'll start long tossing and just really get ready for fall baseball. We just feel like that in their case, I don't know, for them to go out and pitch is going to, be what they really need to do. They just need to come in and have a good fall. And I think both of them will.
And then in the same vein as the draft, with the high school guys, is there a number that you have in mind that you would consider a success as far as how many guys you actually get on campus in the fall post draft?
Yeah, I mean, a lot of the guys that we signed, there's a few already here. They're in summer school, starting to work out, and there's a few that don't really have a number there. We know who there's a possibility of losing, and if we lose them, we get it. But again, it's just there's 20 rounds. If you see someone's name pop up, then they probably already made a deal. Very rarely now with the limited rounds are these teams going to select somebody unless it's a little later, or they're going to take a chance and they just, I don't know, on a whim, but with 20 rounds, they got to get those kids signed. So we're doing as much as we can to try to find out what these guys are really thinking. But I truly believe that some of these kids, and they're talking to these pro people now, they're trying to figure out, are they really going to get the amount that they want? And then if they don't, we just want them to stay strong. And if they say they want $1 million and they're being told we can't give you more than 500, then they should come to school and triple that.
Andrew Ellis?
Hey, Coach, we always talk about guys making a move or making a jump. Who are some guys on your roster now that you've had those conversations with about it's time to make a move, time to do something more?
Kendall Diggs jumps right out at me. I mean, he's got such a pretty swing. He knows the strike zone. He got a couple of pinch hit opportunities, some clutch situations late, and it didn't go well, but he hadn't hit in a while. I think when he gets in the lineup and gets a lot of at bats, I think he'll be really good. So he needs to make a move, position player wise. He needs to get in really good shape this summer and fall. He's got to summer ball and out east a little bit, maybe the Appalachian League, and he needs to get better, and he will. I told Jay Sporfin the same thing, and he sat the last couple of days up in the Cape because he had a little soreness in his knee, but I think he'll be back in the lineup. But this is a guy that, we had him penciled in starting last year. It didn't happen. He got hurt, missed a month, came back, did real well, then didn't do well. And then we just kind of went with Gregory at the end because he was getting on base, and that's the way it was. We were winning. So, there's probably a couple more in there, but on the pitching side, there's always room for improvement. And I think, Austin Ledbetter jumps out at me a little bit. I thought he pitched well. Those last couple outings, really good to see. And I know there's more.
And obviously you keep tabs on all your guys playing summer ball, but are there any that you're kind of looking a closer eye on to try to see how they do, or some that have jumped out to you so far this summer?
I don't really feel like there's anybody out there that's, if he doesn't do well, we're not going to tell him to come back or suggest they don't come back. I think that kind of takes care of itself throughout what we just saw this season. And then, if it gets crazy here in the next 2 and 3 weeks with, guys not signing, maybe some of our guys coming back that people thought were going to sign, and, maybe some transfers decide to come here, or whatever the case may be, then some conversations will take place. But until that happens, or it's pretty obvious there's not going to be great opportunity, we're not going to do anything yet.
Tom,
Hey, Dave, I just didn't unmute. Sorry, I was rusty with the Zoom there. So Connor has publicly said that he's considered maybe coming back another year. And I think Robert Moore's left that door open. Could you speak to maybe those two? And is there anyone else who, might surprise and have another year?
On Connor, I think that he loves wearing this uniform. I just think that if things aren't just exactly what he wants, that there is an opportunity. Well, obviously there is a chance he'll come back, and I've met with him about it. We'll see how it goes. I think he might be on vacation right now with his family for a few days, and they're thinking about some things and talking some things over. And but I don't think Connor is just going to go because somebody says, "Hey, we're going to give you a little bit of money and go play." It's going to have to be a situation where he feels really good about it. The organization's serious. If not, you could see him back, and obviously we'd love to have him back, but he's got to make that final decision. And then with Robert, I don't think the door's closed, but I do think that he'll be picked pretty good. And if he would have had a little better year offensively, I think it would have been a slam dunk. But he still had a lot of good days. He played incredible defense. I look back, on the stat sheet, it says he made 2 errors. One of them was late in the season, and I think it was a tough play that could have been scored a hit. And I think if we were at home, it would have been scored a hit. It was a backhand up the middle that kind of took a bad hop on him. And then the other was on a double play turn at A&M, where our first baseman tried to really stretch and get the ball. He just didn't catch it. It was a good throw. And so, honestly, I think he fielded 1,000, which is almost unheard of. That's the way I see it. So pro people see that. And I would be surprised if Robert came back.
Okay. And then of the people who left, I mean, Zach Gregory's and, the Dylan Leach's, were any of those surprises or disappointing or anything like that?
None of them were surprises. And I would have to say I wasn't disappointed at all, because I understand they understand, we understand what's going on now with the portal and opportunity to play. And these are guys that have been in the program a couple of years and hadn't played much. And you've, as a coach, and maybe even them evaluating themselves, it was a big risk for them to come back and play, so it really, in most cases, and probably all cases actually, it's probably for the best, because for those guys, for them, for us and depth and all of that, it's great. But then again, me as a head coach looking down the bench when they're not in the lineup, it gets difficult the older they get. If I don't know at the end of a season that, there's an 80% chance that guy's going to be an everyday starter in the field, or that pitcher's going to have a big time role. And in some cases, they want to be starters and they're having trouble getting on the field as a middle guy or a reliever. And they're saying, I really want to start. I'm getting 21 years old. Then it's probably best for them to go somewhere where they might feel like they'll have that opportunity.
You always talk about the roster management every year. And I'm wondering, with recent developments with the portal and stuff, is it more tricky, chaotic, hectic than it's ever been this particular year?
All of the above. It's ridiculous, honestly. And what kicks it over the top is that draft. And I've already said enough about that, because at least if we're sitting here talking today, it would be nice to know where everybody was drafted, and we'd have a lot better handle on where we're at. Because of COVID, most rosters across the country have been bigger than ever the last couple of years. We're trying to cut our numbers down. It's really hard. It's maybe we're another year away. That's the way I feel about it. But our numbers, they're going to be down a little bit. I'd like them to be down a little bit more. Again, the transfer portal, you're seeing with other teams in our league and division are doing with the transfer portal and NIL money, are getting these kids to come to school, or at least say they're going to go there. And maybe some of them are draft eligible, and then they'll figure out what they have when the smoke clears, like all of us. It's going to be this way until some changes are made. And I don't see any changes coming down the road anytime soon.
All right, thanks.
Mason,
Yeah, coach, a lot of these guys you have coming in through JUCO guys in the transfer portal and even the freshmen, a lot of them are listed as infielders. I'm just curious, are you planning on moving, a good bit of those guys to the outfield? Because it seems like you guys are a little short there right now.
I have a list over here to the left of me because I'm going to look at it. So a couple of those JUCO guys that you probably have listed as infielders are outfielders as well. And a couple of them actually played in the outfield more than they played in the infield. I've got us for right now about 6 guys that are straight up outfielders, and maybe one of those will sign professional. And then there's also another infielder or 2 that they can go to the outfield. And then, I already mentioned that Kendall Diggs can play in the outfield. We're fine there.
Ty,
Hey, coach, kind of back to Tom's question. Eric Musselman always talks about how when they're going through the process of, hey, is the guy going to get drafted, where he just wants to give them as much information as possible. And you speaking to Robert and speaking to Connor, what does that look like from your talks with those guys about, hey, this is what we've heard from this guy or this guy? What does that look like from that conversation?
Well, the guys that are already in the program and they've been here 3 years or whatever, they're, example, nobody's brought up Caden Wallace. He's only a sophomore, but he's draft eligible, but he's going to be picked in the first 2 rounds, in my opinion. There's not much conversation there. Figure out if that's what you want to sign for and sign. They have advisors helping their families now. A lot of those conversations are with them. With say Robert or even Connor, there's not much going on there. I mean, Robert Moore's dad basically knows what he's doing. Connor's very well educated and he knows what he wants to do with the rest of his life. And if it's play another year at Arkansas and then take a chance in the minor leagues, Connor's going to be fine, whatever he does. Really smart, very popular in this state. Obviously he's got a lot going for him. So, really our conversations like you're speaking of are going to be more with maybe the freshmen or the seniors that, they have to deal with, the draft and they've never been here. So they're the ones that, to me, that need a little more advising. So we put in our 2 cents, honestly, but when it starts to get up there to be pretty good money, we just want them to be upfront, with something like, hey, Coach Van Horn, if I don't get $800,000, I'm coming to school. Okay, then stick to that. I'm good with that. If you tell me that, and then I'm talking to the scouts and I'm hearing, well, there's no way he's getting more than 400. I'm planning on him being here. Then when I find out he agrees to sign for 425, then we're frustrated with that. We just want him to be upfront, and that's why, honestly, we wish the draft was 2 weeks ago, and we all know what to do today. So yeah, there are those conversations, but it gets a little touchy when you're talking guys are going to go really high.
And I guess my follow-up to that would be with NIL, just as of last July, we're basically a year into it. Has that changed your philosophy when it comes to, hey, you can come back and make more money? Because I know Connor has some NIL deals, and my guess is the starting Friday night guy, he could probably get even more than he had this year. Has that changed your philosophy on these conversations, even though you kind of mentioned as a senior, they know what the deal is?
Well, it's just changed the conversation. It's really not my philosophy, because last year at this time really didn't have anywhere to go with it.
Mm-hmm.
This year it's got some legs, and there's places where they can get money. And, I say get money, you get an opportunity to represent some company or advertise or whatever the case may be. And I'm good with it. I want these guys to to make some money. And I'd like him to make a lot of money and come to school and play for us and, learn how to handle money and learn about taxes and pressure and people, bothering them, wanting to get a piece of this and a piece of that. I think it's a great experience for him. Plus, being a college kid and being able to have some money, it's kind of nice, but I just don't want it to take away from their long range goal where they're really going to make a lot of money, and that's through their signing bonus. But the money is when you make it to the big leagues and stick. That's where you make money for life. So I don't know, kind of got on a rampage there. I like it. But yeah, I guess, okay, getting back to the question of, does it change the conversation? Well, the conversation would be, you can take a couple $100,000 to sign, but why would you do that when you can come here and over 3 and 4 years, you may make 3 or 4 times that. Who knows where it's going? Because it's going up. It's not going the other way. And there's a lot more out there for baseball now, like a lot more than there was a year ago.
Coach, last question for me, and I'll flip it back to Oliver. Mississippi State wins the national championship 2 years ago. Ole Miss this past year. Is that more difficult to recruit against that, or does that help the overall brand of the SEC West, help your program? I just wondered from your vantage point what that does.
I don't think it makes it more difficult. I mean, we're all recruiting the same kids. Besides NLI money, we're pretty much all on the same level. And as far as what we have to offer, we have a great situation here. We have a great fan base. The facilities are incredible. I feel like my coaching staff is as good as any in the country. I could go on and on. In a way, it probably makes it better because, LSU's won a bunch and they're in our division. Our league has won a lot over the years with South Carolina back in 12 and 13 or 11 and 12, I think it was. And, the SEC is going to be in the middle of it every year. So kids want to play at the highest level, the ones that are confident. We can tell when we recruit, we have some kids that when they leave here after the recruiting visit, we kind of talk amongst ourselves like, I don't know if he thinks he's good enough to play in this league, or did we scare him? Because of the way we like to work and develop guys and what we're looking for in players. We're looking for really good teammates, and we're not going to get them all, but we want to get the right ones, and that's what we're trying to do with this portal. We want to get the right ones, and I think national championships by teams in the SEC it's going to help us all.
All right, coming back around, Hutch.
Dave, another guy we haven't asked you about is Zach Morris. Kind of what do you think he's done for himself? Is he a guy that you think might get drafted and signed, or could he come back?
All of the above. I think he's done a great job. The second half of the season, I thought he was outstanding. We knew what we were getting when we brought him in the game. He was going to throw strikes, keep the ball down, work some quick innings. It wasn't like he was striking everybody out, but they weren't squaring him up either. We turned double plays behind him. He had one rough outing in Omaha, and then, man, did he turn it around, and we gave him the ball because we trusted him in crucial situation, and he got it done. It was really, really good to see. And I loved the comment that Will McIntyre made the other day that his favorite thing that happened all year was when Zach got those hitters out, and that was kind of a teammate thing there, selfless thing. And that's how you win with guys that have that type of attitude, especially, the second half of the season. Draft wise, I think Zach could be drafted. I don't think he's going to sell himself short. I think he'll come back unless he gets pretty good money. We're hoping he comes back. We're planning on it right now, but we also know that he's having a decision to make, and I'm sure there's scouts calling him now, and they're talking about money and opportunity. But he was outstanding down the stretch.
And then also back to the catchers, like Matt was asking earlier, how many catchers would you like to have on your roster for fall ball, and then also for the season?
Probably, and I'm being serious when I say this, 2.5. And what I mean by a half is maybe have a guy that's maybe he's a third baseman, catcher, or a hitter, catcher. Charlie Welch type guy would be nice with that type of bat, but kind of hard to find. Right now we're in pretty good shape with a couple of guys, and but we're still looking for another guy that, maybe he's an outfielder, right fielder that also can catch. It's a secondary position because you'd like to have three. Again, in this modern day Division I baseball, it's hard to have three. It's hard to put more than two on a scholarship, and sometimes even more than one, unless you can, you find a guy that's got outstanding grades, or you can get him some help somewhere else, or whatever you need to do. But it's in a perfect world, it'd be nice to have three guys that can get back there.
Mason, you have anything else? Hands still up.
Yeah, Coach, I was curious of the freshmen. I think I saw Jason Jones, his mom tweeted that he was on campus for the new student orientation. Are you expecting to have him and the other guys? Just what are you expecting as far as guys that might get drafted?
Yeah, most of them are coming around and doing their orientation. Some are here right now, taking some summer school, and they just started. Once they do that, they can work with our strength and conditioning coach. We can't work with them, but they're working on getting stronger. They're kind of getting acclimated. They're in the locker room. I think there's 5 or 6 of them. Jason's a guy that's, a year ago sitting here, I would have said it's going to be really tough to get him to get to school. Came to his visit in September, absolutely loved it. Loved the feeling. I think he relaxed a little bit, and I think if he comes to school here, he'll have a lot of success. I think he's one of the true freshmen that has an opportunity to get on the field. He has big time power. He can really field the baseball. It's going to be up to them. When they were here, I talked with Jason and his dad, and we had some candid conversations, but bottom line, the door's still open either way. And I think that if he ends up in school, he's fine with it. If he signs, we're going to have to give him a lot of money. And again, if he shows up, I don't want him to feel the pressure that, say, Peyton Stovall dealt with this year. It takes time. It takes time when you're facing the arms that we face in this league, and even out of league sometimes, to adapt to be able to hit it every day. But Jason will have a great career here if he shows up.
Then last thing for me, you kind of mentioned earlier how you guys haven't gone for, the big splash in the portal. You got a lot of JUCO guys coming in. I'm curious, just you've had success with that in the past. You mentioned that you got some good guys coming in. What do you think about that, and just the amount of JUCO guys you have coming in?
Well, first about going after the big splash guys, the big name guys, I didn't say we didn't go after them. We just didn't get them. Some people got them. And I wouldn't say that we offered every one of them, but we probably made contact with every one of them. And then after talking with them and kind of finding out what they're really all about, or as far as, what they want to do, they telling us what they want to do. We didn't maybe feel great about it. And there may be a couple of big splash guys coming down the road, but again, the smoke's got to clear, and we'll see how that all turns out, because we're on some things. And, as far as the junior college guys, obviously we went after a couple right-handed hitters, a couple left-handed hitters, guys that put up numbers. And in one case, a guy started out at a really good Division I, went to JUCO and crushed it his second year at the JUCO. And, we think that's going to continue here. So, we feel good about them. A couple of in-state guys, a couple of guys from far away. Fall ball will be fun this year. I think that there's going to be a lot of competition, as it should be when you're talking an SEC type school. Arkansas or Kentucky, doesn't matter. You should have good players on campus. The ones that you want to go into the SEC games with are the ones that know how to battle and earn a spot. Again, most of these kids, when we talk to them, they know that they have to come in here and work, and they have to beat some guys out. And the kids that, that wanted us to tell them, hey, yeah, it's yours, and we're not going to go after anybody else. Maybe we didn't want that guy. We want guys that want to work and battle.
All right, Bob, close us out.
Dave, Peyton Paulette, how would you say his rehab has gone, and do you envision him still being a pretty high pick?
I think his rehab has gone really well. You know, Peyton came around all year, the whole time we were playing. I mean, it's hard to, I felt so bad for him, especially, you know, towards the end of the year when we were in the regional and super regional, and him not being there with us on the team, you know, traveling, because we could only travel so many. And, but he worked extremely hard. He's gotten bigger and stronger, and I think he's going to be a really good draft. And I think he's going to play for a long time.
And then, you know, you mentioned Caden and being a high pick. Obviously, he played well for you guys, but what do you think scouts really like about him?
I think they like a lot of things about him. I like, number one, he's very athletic, and he's a big athlete. You know, he's not a kid that can, you know, really run, that is small. He's strong. He's got a lot of power potential at the next level. He's got an extremely strong arm, and I think he's versatile too. You know, you can play him at third, and that's what they're going to draft him as, a third baseman, but they also know that he could, you know, play right field, maybe even center, definitely all three outfield positions. He could play second, and you know, he's valuable. And I just think that organizations really want to get him involved with their organization, obviously, just so they can see where he fits best as far as position wise.
Got one more. Wes Johnson, I don't know if you stay in touch with him, but what was your take on him leaving a first place major league team and coming back to college ball, and specifically the SEC West, your division?
Yeah, well, my take, I mean, you could talk to Wes about it, and you probably have tried to contact him, knowing you, Bob, because you're pretty good at that stuff. My take would be that he wanted to get back into college. Wasn't going to be that much difference in what he was going to get paid. More of an opportunity to see his family. Probably was extremely hard for him to leave at this time of the year in the middle of the season, but you know, that's the way it works when there's job changes. It's an opportunity knocks. And you know, he had an opportunity to take that job last year after my pitching coach turned it down. So he decided to stick with professional baseball, and I guess another year he just decided this was the time to go.
Now that's news there. So LSU tried to hire Matt.
Who hasn't tried to hire Matt?
I don't know.
I'm just telling you, Matt's really good. Glad he's here.
How good does that make you feel when your guy's turning down a team that's won 6 national titles?
Makes me feel great. Northwest Arkansas is a great place to raise kids. He has 3 little kids. I think he likes working here. Hopefully he likes me. Acts like he does anyway. So we all get along. I think Nate Thompson's an outstanding coach, good person. He's also got 3 little kids, and there's been a lot of opportunities for our staff over the years. And that's kind of people that I want in our program.
How good is it to keep the staff together when people are coming after them?
It's great. I think, you know, continuity, the players, man, they want to know who's coaching them, and they would like to know him. And in our case, you know, 3 or 4 years strong. Nate's, I think, 5, and me forever, it seems like, to some people. But it's been great keeping all these coaches here. And I feel like that they won't leave unless they get the right head coaching job. And you know, there's been some opportunities to be head coaches for both of them over the past few years. There's even been an opportunity for one of them to go straight to the big leagues from here a few years back. That we just don't put it out there. We don't. Our players know that we have outstanding people coaching them.
Anything else you want to say?
Now I'll let you call them.
Okay.
Coach, appreciate your time as always.
Oh, can I say this real quick? I just really appreciate the effort from our team. What a fun team to coach. The 22 team started in the fall. We could tell we had a special group that liked each other. And, you know, I didn't make an opening statement, but just kind of finish it up that what a run they made at the end. It was where we wanted to finish. We felt like in the fall we could get there. The league was every bit as good as we thought it was. People saying the West is down. No, the West was never down. The West was really good. And it made it look like other teams weren't as good as, you know, maybe people thought they were, but just so proud of them. We really fielded the ball. We pitched extremely well. I thought down the stretch, we hit the ball extremely well, and our bats were really good. We ran into a really hot team, and you know, we got hot, but they were a little bit hotter. And just proud of these guys and wish them all the best. Want to thank them.
I thought you were gonna say how much you enjoyed talking to us on the Zoom.
That's that again. I'll tell you that off the record later. Thank you, Bob.
Okay.